Hello everyone. Happy Friday and welcome to another story time with me today, DC. Today we're going to be reading from my fourth book in the Intern Diaries Series, which is Famine, Unstoppable Famine. So I am super excited you guys are joining me today. So just to get us all back into how everybody's doing today, it has been a very, very busy day. I feel like I have been running around in circles. I don't know how much stuff I got done. But today was one of those, this is my weekend to do lots and lots of podcast and recording. So I have been going and coming all day. So I've been looking forward to chit-chatting with everyone, making sure you guys are doing amazing. Remember, we're going to be doing live book reading. I am not a professional narrator, so just be gentle with me and just kind of enjoy the fun. So if you guys are joining me, this is your first time, grab a drink, whatever you enjoy, get comfy. I'm going to do you a little reading for this night before, for a little chit-chatting, and we're going to go from there. And because we are definitely going to be celebrating. So today, I figured we'll start with what am I drinking for today's evening celebration. Today we have, honestly, so we're going to be reading from Famine, and Famine takes place, the chapter I'm going to introduce you is going to take place in Miami. So I figured what better way to start with a pina colada. I figured this is fairly festive, fairly tropical and all that stuff. Besides, it's like 100 degrees with 99% humidity here in Texas. So why not? So salute everyone. Cheers. Let me know where you guys are coming from. Anything exciting you guys are doing. I am officially live, if everything goes well, on TikTok. We're doing YouTube as well as Facebook. So put some comments in there. Let me know what you guys are going on. I'll be looking literally at both screens to make sure I don't miss anything. And we're going to go from there. So book 4. So this is Unstoppable Famine. And this is the book right before the end of the world. Like this is kind of before Judgment Day, the apocalypse and all this stuff. So this is urban fantasy. We're looking at from the perspective of Isis, who's our main character. And in book 4, Isis has been on the job for a while now. Let's get a couple years. She's trying to run a city. It takes place in Texarkana because it's urban fantasy. And the girl needs a vacation, let's just be honest. She's been trying to take a break, has not been working out for her. But this is the part when she's finally getting ready to meet the last horseman. So the way this series comes about is Death's Intern is book 1. You meet Isis and you also meet Death. She works with Death. She kind of gets to figure it out. Then 8 months later, you get to meet Pestilence, who, let me put it this way, is deliciously evil. It happens to be that way. Book 3, you get to meet War, who happens to be a little dysfunctional. I don't know how else to say it. Like, he runs all the armies and all the militaries and wants the destructions of the world. What you tend to find out is that the only horseman that's interested in not killing everybody in society happens to be Death. Other than that, everybody's on a mission. So this is going to be Famine. One of the things that I try to do with this series is kind of put together one horseman with one supernatural being and kind of bring them all together. So if fantasy is not your thing, this series starts really slow and slowly picks up from there. So I'm going to introduce you to probably one of those horsemen that kind of goes, you are the reason the world is going to end. And we're actually going to be in chapter 9. I happen to like this chapter of all of them. I like this chapter specifically just because I like the introduction to Famine. I think Famine happens to be very eclectic and a little bit on the angry side. A little bit odd. We all have them. So salute everyone. By the end of this series, I should be a pro. I'm mixing drinks the way we're going because I've been doing this a lot lately. So let's get started. If you're jumping in, not sure what we're doing live book readings, so let me know if you have any questions, concerns. I'll be stopping to answer. Gonna give you a little insight in some of the stuff that I got. And remember, we're gonna have some fun, so just be gentle. My Dominican accent is gonna try to slow down for you and kind of get you all up to speed. Have any questions? Let me know, guys. Let's get started. This is chapter 9 on Unstoppable Famine, book 4 in the Intern Diaries series. So let's get started. My entire body was shaking by the time my feet hit solid ground. According to my watch, it took less than a minute, but every cell in me screamed like it had actually taken an eternity. My vision was blurred, so I leaned on the closet wall as I could find and closed my eyes. Just a little insight for everyone. At this point in time in this chapter, Death has decided that they need to go find Famine. Suspicious stuff is going on, and the only possible culprit besides Pestilence, she's innocent this time, happens to be Famine. So Death happens to take them all, literally across the country, from Texarkana, Texas, to Miami. So this is the whole grab onto death because she's going to cross the world, and this is how ISIS is landing on the other side, completely feeling all of her body going, ooh, that was a rough ride. Wow, where are we? Bartholomew asked. This place is magnificent. It took me a minute to open my eyes again. I had no idea when Bartholomew recovered so quickly, or if he was even affected the same way. My world was no longer spinning, and Bartholomew was right. We were standing in the biggest room I have ever seen in my life. The ceilings were probably 30 feet high, with intricate columns in each corner for support. A glass wall separated the main room from a huge outdoor terrace that ended with an infinity pool. Whose mansion did wishes break into? I asked. This was the type of place you saw on MTV Cribs. If MTV still was around, this is one of the shows they had, just kind of an FYI. White leather couches were artistically arranged in the area with a black leather recliner near a fireplace at the back. Everything in the room was either white or black, and it screamed wealth. This is Famine's place, Death told us. Why is it so humid here? Bob asked, waving his hand over his face. Because we're in Miami and overlooking the ocean, Constantine said, wiping down his face. Billionaire Famine owns a mansion in Miami, and this doesn't draw attention? How good was Famine at hiding their identity? Famine is famine. That was all Constantine told us. We're going to search this whole place. Isis and Bob, start upstairs and check every room, closet, and anything you can think about. The rest of us have this floor. Nobody questioned or challenged Death's order. We quickly marched to our assigned areas, hoping to find Famine. It was close to 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was dead tired. I wasn't sure how much longer I would be able to stay on my feet. I focused on one room at a time, but the mansion was enormous. We searched over 20 rooms just on the second floor. Famine had guest rooms, study rooms, library, gym, entertainment center, and even a massage room. Why will anyone get all of this? Even with Bob and me moving from room to room, it took us over half an hour to search the whole floor. Let me guess. Nothing? Death asked as we marched downstairs. This place is enormous, I answered. Do we have to search the rest of the property? Constantine asked, staring out the glass window. No, Famine is here. I can feel it, Death said. Does this place have a basement? Bartholomew asked regarding his surrounding. Bartholomew, you're a genius. Death pinched Bartholomew's cheek as she walked towards the back of the house. I know that. Bartholomew's smile spread over from one ear to ear. I'm taking that as a yes. Famine mentioned once that they created a bomb shelter as a basement. Death marched down several rooms and hallways. Why does the Horsemen have a bomb shelter? I couldn't help asking the question because the place was out of control. Same reason Famine needs a mansion, Death answered. Because Famine wants it. And that's not the only reason, Constantine added, strolling down the hall. I wonder if Constantine was holding back the urge to scratch the furniture. He kept extending his claws a little too often to be normal. So one of my main characters happens to be Constantine, who's a talking cat, who, as you can tell, does not care that much about Famine. Actually, let's be honest. Besides death and maybe a little bit of war, he doesn't care for any of the horsemen. They're too much for him to handle. He just likes death. And he's been ride or die for death for over 1,000 years, so you know he has a soft spot. We also realize that each horseman's a little more quirky than the others, and their sylvan rivalry is out of control. So let's jump back. We arrived at the kitchen, and I was in love. I wasn't the only one. Bob walked around in circles, opening every cabinet, running his hands out the appliances. Next time we build, we're getting a kitchen like this, Bartholomew said. You two are way too happy about it. Bob and I nodded at each other and continued to stare at the granite countertops, mahogany cabinets, and the top-of-the-line appliance. Famine even had a crystal chandelier in the kitchen. I agree. This kitchen's impressive. But unless you brought us here to get a snack, shouldn't we be checking for the basement? Constantine followed closely behind Death. The entrance to the basement is here. Death pressed each of the doorknobs as she made her way around the room. Famine is also paranoid? Lovely. I shook my head. This was getting better and better. Here! Death clapped her hands together as she pulled the fridge from the wall, revealing a long stairwell leading down. This bomb shelter is not for the weak, I told Bob, who just snickered at me. Death flipped the light switch at the entrance of the stairwell. I was glad because going down creepy stairs in empty mansions was not my idea of fun. At the same time, I was ascending with death and a 5,000-year-old talking cat, so how could I be worried? Famine was meticulous, even in the building of their shelter. The stairwell was carpeted with muffled footstep. The basement instead was one large room with soft-tan paneling and recessed lights all around. Expecting an empty room, I startled when my eyes landed on a figure sitting in the middle. Famine? Death rushed through the horsemen, and the rest of us followed. Constantine had not been lying. Famine was painfully gorgeous, but completely androgynous. Aqua eyes with shimmer black hair made the contrast breathtaking. Famine was duct taped to a chair, and their pinstripe suit was now wrinkled. I didn't know what to make of the whole situation. Is that a sippy cup? Bartholomew was the first one to speak. I don't want to know. Constantine turned around and headed back towards the stairway. Death? Sent me back to Texas. This is already madness. Constantine, get over here. Death ordered the whiny cat. Should we take the tape out of their mouth? The pronounced situation was going to take me a minute to get used to it. Allow me. Death volunteered, and the rest of us waited. Rip! The sound of the tape being pulled off Famine's face was awful. I waited for the scream or even profanity to come out. But instead, Famine gave Death the tenderest expression I have ever seen. In case you're all wondering, Famine happens to be Death's favorite, which is the reason pestilence and war are not that crazy about them. Just Famine is just Famine and just happens to be the one that tends to kind of nourish a little more than the other one. So Famine gets a little bit extra leeway. But yes, Famine was duct taped to the chair with a sippy cup, which is the reason I really love this. Hi, Death. Famine was so chipper it was a bit overwhelming. Famine, what are you doing here? Death pointed at the empty basement. I'm kidnapped, Famine said, sitting straight in the chair. Is that possible? I asked softly to Constantine. No, it's not possible, Constantine shouted. Why are you in that chair? I told you, I was kidnapped. Famine sounded like a demented 5-year-old on sugar. You were kidnapped in your own house? Death leaned down, eyeing her sibling with raised eyebrows. Nobody knows this place exists, Famine explained. Except you and the kidnappers, obviously. Constantine marched circles around Famine. Do you know who kidnapped you? I asked, walking closer to Famine. Who's this? Famine whispered to Death. Famine, meet Isis. My North American intern, Death said. Over there is Bob, and the young man over here is Bartholomew. Do they know I'm a you-know-what? Famine was still whispering. Yes. They know you're a horseman, you lunatic, Constantine shouted. Everybody who meets you know you're a horseman, except you, of course. My kidnappers have no clue, Famine bragged. How do you know that? Bartholomew asked, trying not to stare at Famine. Because they work for me. After Famine dropped that bomb, nobody said a word. We all just stood there in dumbfounded expressions. So once again, in this version of the Horsemen, Famine is truly convinced that nobody knows they're horsemen. They're in their mind completely convinced that it's such a huge secret. Except that when you meet Famine and you realize that there's powers radiating, there's something about Famine that screams not human. Except that Famine is convinced that they're got everybody fooled. Except nobody believes it. So, cheers everyone. I'm taking a quick break. Anybody had any questions, concerns? Everybody still good? All right, we're going to keep going. Because everybody's still not buying this whole, you're kidnapping your own basement. You think nobody knows who you are. And you have a sippy cup. So here we go. This is why Famine is probably going to start the apocalypse. Here we go. I'm sorry, but did you say your employees kidnap you? Bob was the brave man to ask that question. Yes. Famine grinned as if nothing at all was the matter. That's it. Death, let me strangle them. It will take me 3 seconds. I'll promise I'll make it quick. Death grabbed Constantine, restraining him so he didn't choke Famine to death. Famine, get up from that chair, said Death. But they try so hard, Famine whined. They even gave me a sippy cup with dinosaurs. I knew Famine had a sippy cup, Bartholomew repeated. Famine, get up. Death shouted, making Bartholomew and I jump at least 3 feet off the ground. Fine, Famine pouted, but with a snap of his fingers, the duct tape and chair disappeared. Better? Much, answered Death. 2, maybe 3 weeks? Okay, much. How long have you been sitting down here? I asked, my eyes roaming over the empty space. So Miss Ellen has asked, sipping up, yes! So this is, yes, I'm taking questions in case I just have something pop up. So here's my favorite part. So Famine, who is absolutely, they're hysterically delicious, and they're just innocent in a whole new degree. But if you're going to kidnap an horseman, you at least should give them something to drink. So at least the kidnappers were trying to be gentle as they left them tied, down in the basement with a sippy cup. And it had dinosaurs. So Famine is completely, in awe of this whole master plan while everybody's going, Famine, get out of the chair. And yes, Famine can snap fingers and get out of the chair. And so that's why even more traumatized poor Constantine wants to kill Famine. But that's besides the point. But they try, so back to here. Famine, get out from that chair, said Death. Oh, all right. So let's see. Famine, fine. Famine pouted, but with a snap of their fingers, the duct tape in the chair disappeared. Better? Much, answered Death. How long have you been sitting down here? I asked, my eyes roaming around the empty space. 2, maybe 3 weeks. I lost track of time. Famine adjusted the suit that was not cooperating. One more snap and Famine was wearing a white suit in the same design as Death. Constantine started gagging and Death shook her head. The family lacks some serious counseling. This family lacks some serious counseling. The dynamics of the Horsemen will give Dr. Phil hours of material to analyze. What is the emergency that you came all the way over to Miami to see me? Famine turned to look at Death. Oh wait, this place is so gloomy. Snap. We were sitting in the outside patio of the mansion, overlooking the city and the ocean. It was a little dizzy, but at least Famine had the courtesy of depositing me on a chair. Bob was stretched out in a hammock. Constantine was lying on a tall throne, while Bartholomew floated in an inflatable bed in the pool. Death just stood next to the pool, scowling. I'm slacking on my duties. Food. Famine didn't wait for anyone to answer. Trays of food appeared around each person in an instant. A large cup of Colombian coffee was in the center of my tray. The horseman was absolutely weird, but right now, I was in heaven. I took the coffee in both of my hands and inhaled the rich aroma. The smell alone brought me back to life, but the taste was mind-blowing. Where in God's name did Famine get this coffee from? Colombia, Famine told me. Can you read minds? I asked, holding my cup with both hands. Don't be silly, dear, but that is the most asked question. Do you like it? Famine hovered over me as they waited for my response. It's amazing, I confessed. That's what I love to hear. Famine beamed with joy and even skipped in the direction of Death. What can I get for you, dear? Your undivided attention will be nice. Death narrowed her eyes at her sibling. I wouldn't want to be in Famine's shoes right now. Fine. What's going on? Famine grabbed a glass from the tray near Death and sat down. We have a significant number of animal attacks that we're thinking of being triggered by one of your supplements. Bartholomew shouted from his position in the pool. Why will anyone be giving supplements to animals? That is absurd. Famine asked. So a little quick insight into everyone. So each horseman in this series actually has somewhat of a job. Pestilence is the mission of creating evil viruses, of course, and plagues and all that fun stuff. War runs the armies of pretty much every military. Famine decided it was going to be a little bit more creative. So Famine is in charge of, here we go, the diet industry. How else can a horseman ask you to lose weight and actually make money out of it? So every single possible diet pill, shot, you name it, Famine's in charge. So this is when they're asking about supplements. We're talking specifically diet pills that they're running, and now they're convinced it's causing this mysterious epidemic running around town. So here we go. Constantine slapped his face and took a huge bite of some pastries in front of him. Based on Bartholomew's statement, Famine's answer made perfect sense. Unfortunately, these are not regular animals, but shifters doing the attacking. Death clarified. Oh. Famine moved from sitting in the chair to pacing so fast I couldn't follow them. Not good. You know about this? Death asked very slowly. Yes, but the supplement shouldn't be on the market. Famine waved both hands in front of them. It needs additional testing and major modification. What does it do? Constantine asked without glancing at Famine's way. The finished product is supposed to accelerate muscle development, give the user insane tone definition, increase appetite, and people lose weight drastically, Famine told them, shrugging. You created a magic pill, I said, my tone more of a question than a statement. Every human will want to get their hands on that pill if word got out. How will you make money? You have to keep taking the pill to maintain the effects. Except, you will have to increase the doses every few months. So this book actually came out in 2020. And now that I'm reading back, sounds suspiciously of that magic pill or magic shot that's going on right now. Hopefully it doesn't cause any people to turn into shifters and attack others. But just in case, we've been thinking about it for a while. So here it goes. And we're back. Okay. So here's how you make money. You have to keep taking the pills to maintain the effects. Except you will have to increase the dose every few months. Famine explains. Which eventually lead to kidney failure and death. Oh, okay. I keep forgetting the job of every horseman is to kill humanity. My mouth was dry and the coffee felt cold in my hands. Remind me never to take supplements. Trust me, I will never let you, Constantine shouted from his throne. Thank you, I replied. You said it wasn't supposed to be on the market yet. Why? Death brought us back on track. The process was too fast. Famine stood pacing in front of the chairs. Humans were going into organ failures within a few weeks, and some shifters developed unstoppable hunger, and that could not be contained. Unless they ate human flesh, I finished for them. Exactly, Famine concurred. Why were you kidnapped again? I realized Famine Moore never explained that. My CEOs decided that they didn't like the way I was handling some companies, Famine told us, showing very little emotion. The kidnapping was part of a coup to take over my business. Are these the same CEOs that released the supplements? I was hoping the mess could have a simple solution. Maybe. Famine stopped, tilting their head from one side to the other. That would make sense. It is definitely possible. Great. Then all we have to do is march to your offices, stop your CEOs, and send out a cure for the supplements. Sounded easy enough. But I have a feeling it wouldn't be. Not really, Famine whispered. Why not? Constantine asked this time. I need my notes for the supplements, and the notes are in the special lab, and I can't show up because I'm kidnapped. And nobody knows I'm a horseman. And stop! Death shouted, cutting off Famine's rambling, one thing at a time. Can you create a cure? Well, Famine started stretching the word. It's a yes or no question, Death told Famine. Yes, as long as I have my notes in the formula for the supplements, Famine explained. Fine. In which lab do you have them? Death's tone was ice cold against the warmth of Florida. In my lab, in Mount Pleasant, Famine said the last part very slowly, and I had to lean in to listen. Mount Pleasant where? Constantine and I asked at the same time. Texas? Famine said, not facing us. Why? Constantine dropped on his throne. Please tell me it's not underneath a chicken plant, I said, afraid to hear the answer. So here's the big joke. Because the horsemen have ongoing family feud and competition, when you get to book 2, which is Plague Unleashed, you find out the plague happens to have, lo and behold, her lab also in Texas underneath the chicken plant. So while Isis thinks that every horseman is minding their own business, they're technically minding hers and trying to move as close to her as possible. And for some reason, they have an obsession with chicken plants. And granted, if you put something underneath the chicken plants, anybody really going to go checking. So here we go. So Isis asks, please tell me it's not underneath a chicken plant, I said, afraid to hear the answer. How did you know? Famine asked with wide eyes. Where else will it be? Was all I said because I had no other words at the moment. Exactly! Famine answered, jumping up and down. They keep following us. Constantine whined, and I couldn't blame him anymore. So I got a couple questions. I have Miss Christine. Hello, sweetie. This is the comment. So the fact that she says, hello, awesome author. She is amazing, everyone. And I get to see her next week in Savannah. So for anybody watching, you're going to be in Savannah next weekend. Make sure to join us because the fabulous Miss C.D. Gore is going to be there. And she's absolutely amazing. I don't know why she's not doing book reading. She's awesome. So let's continue to go at this madness because the other horsemen are following. There's nothing we can say. Each of the other horsemen had a secret location extremely close to us. No wonder Constantine was so paranoid about them. Their obsession for using chicken plants for hideouts was nuts. I wonder which one started the trend first. Was that the reason Pestilent hated famine? Let's start by creating a cure for these little supplements of yours. Then we can move to figuring out what to do with your CEOs. Death told Famine. I'm not excited to find a bunch of mutilated bodies that will draw attention to us. Is that clear? The last part was directed at us. So I sat up straighter in my chair. Yes, Death, I answered as the official intern in the group. In that case, let's get back to Reapers. It sounds like everyone has work to do, Death said. But it was more of an order than a statement. When you said, let's get back, who's included in that statement? Famine asked, their eyes down as they fidgeted with the buttons on their suit. You are coming with us, and you will follow Constantine's instructions exactly. Otherwise, I'll let him strangle you. Ted turned to face Constantine. You have my full permission to hurt Famine. Yes! Constantine did a backflip on his throne. Let's go home, because I got some whooping to do. Constantine, only if Famine steps out of line. Am I clear? Death glared between Famine and Constantine. Absolutely, Constantine smirked. I recommend you put the coffee down, Isis. We are leaving now. Death told me in a much sweeter voice than the one she used for Famine. Absolutely. I placed the cup back on the tray and stood. It was probably a mental thing, but I found it easier to handle Death's little trip standing. After a quick inventory of the team, Death snapped her fingers. I was ready to be home, but I would prefer a nice, calm jet. Everything went dark again. So my friends, that was chapter 9 on the Unstoppable Famine. So here's where we are in this series. You got to introduce you to Famine, who truly believes nobody knows they're horsemen. I don't know how Famine is in denial of this master plan. Everybody knows they're horsemen. It just happens to be. Famine runs all the diet industry. I have tons of shifters in this book that are going rabid and attacking humans. We got over 50, close to 50 unexplained mysteries. Poor Bartholomew has no idea what's going on. And now they all find out that they thought Famine was hanging out in Miami, chilling in his mansion. But his secret lab happens to be Mount Pleasant, which is less than an hour away from here at Texarkana, where the guys are hanging out. So once again, they just can't get away from these other people. Poor Constantine is going to have a nervous breakdown with Famine because Famine has a way of just pushing your buttons. And there's just nothing you can do about it. So if you enjoy urban fantasy with lots and lots of quirky characters and a whole bunch of madness, come and check it out. This is book 4. The one thing about it, I've been asked, can you read this book literally as standalone? You could, absolutely. Book 4 will be the one that I will recommend. You might want to pick up one of the other ones just because there's so many other characters here that you might be a little lost. Books 1, 2, 3, you can pick them up in any order and have a blast. But huge announcement for anybody who has Kindle Unlimited. Starting on July 24th, all these books will be coming off KU. So if you're a KU reader and you enjoy and you want to take advantage of it, pick up the books now while they're still there because they're going to come off. So go ahead and have fun. Next week we'll be in Savannah, Georgia. So for anybody in that side, I'll be in the East Coast. Going to be going to Literacy Love Savannah 2023. This is going to be my 4th year going, so I am super excited. Get to see some amazing friends. I get to see some of my patrons who have been supporting us tremendously. So if you are a patron, come and see me. I have some goodies for you guys, and it's going to be fun. I know we're going to be trying to do a whole bunch of TikTok lives. So for anybody who enjoys TikTok lives, come and check it out. We're going to be going live throughout the event. It's going to be great awesome for readers. Amazing. It's from Wednesday. I think we get there Wednesday night till Sunday. So it should be really, really fun. So there will not be a book reading Maybe. We'll see. If I get motivated and see what I can do, which means I'll have to take a whole bunch of equipment. So yeah, that would not be a book reading primarily because I'm not taking all my stands. And trying to set this up somewhere else besides my house would be very difficult. So in the meantime, my friends, hope you guys have an amazing, amazing weekend. Hopefully you're not burning to death because it's like 99% humidity. For anybody who is interested, by the way, I have been working on redoing my website. Super excited about that. I officially have decided to start describing my website as a highway in Texas. It's always under construction. That's just kind of the nature of what websites are. But I am super excited with this one. I have a new short story that is free. So if you are enjoying free stories, check out my website. It has a gorgeous cover. So my cover designer is, I forgot her name, Christine Bradley. But that's because Christine also did another cover for me. So I have known a lot of Christines. So did an awesome cover. So Bluntline is available. If you stay in the newsletter, you get a couple more fun surprises that you want to check out. So check out, the website is dcgomez-author.com. If you see anything crazy that happens, I was half asleep when I've been working on it. So send me a note and tell me what needs to be fixed. But hopefully you guys enjoy it. So I am going to be bouncing off. Going to be packing up some pre-orders. I got some goodies that I got to pack for Savannah. Got some books that have to be mailing out, getting ready to do. If you guys are on TikTok, I'm going to be doing a book fairy next week. So make sure you guys just tune in, have fun, stay fabulous. I'll be back in 2 weeks for another book reading. Let me know which book you guys would like to read. If not, I'll pick something exciting and we'll go from there. So, I love you guys all. Have an amazing evening. Bye, guys. Enjoy.